When I bought Piranesi by Susanna Clarke, the bookseller at the till gave me this very approving look and gushed, "It's great, you are going to love it." So all I can do today, as your trusted book chemist, is gush back at you and say, Piranesi is great, you are going to love it. And it's not just great, it's the kind of great that compels me to recommend this book to everybody, regardless of what type of reader they are. In fact, I've already started recommending it far and wide. Now, because of its nature as very much of an enigma, my own confusion at the first few chapters of the novel was very much a big part of my enjoyment of it. It's really difficult to discuss Piranesi without not just spoiling its plot, but without spoiling the very nature of the book. So all I'm going to do in this review, for those of you who maybe need a little bit more persuasion before they go out and buy the book, or maybe have read the book and would like to discuss it, is compare it to 3 other novels, in the hope that I'll stimulate your interest and I'll convince you to buy and read Piranesi, hopefully on blackwells.co.uk. Free shipping in the UK, absolutely low prices on everything, check the description box, or why not at your favorite local bookshop. The first book I'm going to compare Piranesi to is Susanna Clarke's own Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrel, and the main reason I'm comparing them is to say that they are actually quite different books. Both in terms of quality, by all means I really liked Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrel, but Piranesi is truly exceptional, it's something else. But also in terms of their nature, they are really different books. Although, if you were a fan of Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrel, you shouldn't be discouraged. In the way Clarke handles the tropes and the archetypes of fantastical, supernatural fiction, both of these works are quite ambitious and quite original. And both of them, I would say, are concerned with characters who retreat away from the ugliness and the failings of the real world into elsewheres of various kinds. The second point of comparison is We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson, which offers another unforgettable narrator whose psyche and whose quirks are the main and the most engaging enigma in a book that's filled with puzzles. Something is clearly off with Piranesi, the narrator in the novel of the same name, in the same way as something is clearly off with Cat in Castle. And as I was reading both novels, I found myself poring over every line in the narrative to try and detach what was the narrator's perspective on the events and their peculiar view on the world from what was supposedly actually happening to them. Both of these narrators also live in very confined spaces that might look like prisons to most other people, but that to them become instead strongholds against the greater horrors and mysteries and ugliness of the broader world, and they become places of great wonder and beauty. If you have ever experienced any feelings of agoraphobia or social anxiety, no matter how slight, I'm sure you'll be able to empathize with Piranesi as in the same way as you empathize with Cat, and to appreciate their deep connection with their home and their setting. I should mention that Piranesi is a much less sinister narrator than Cat, and yet the last book I'm going to compare Piranesi to, and probably the oddest comparison, is actually a horror novel, Annihilation by Jeff VanderMeer, a novel I absolutely adore. Both Annihilation and Piranesi are set in worlds, in settings that seem to challenge the very basic laws of reality and even physics. And the oddness, the weirdness of these settings is further complicated by the fact that these narrators are a peculiar type of unreliable narrator. It's not so much that they're trying to lie to you, It's that they might not even realize how unreliable they are and how disconnected they are from the reality of what they're experiencing. In both novels, the mysteries of this unique setting very soon gives way to a certain ominous feeling, which is truly creepy in Annihilation and is more subdued and sublime in Piranesi. And both novels convey the way in which the character, the narrator, comes to identify themselves with the setting, comes to almost fuse their own personality to this world they're inhabiting in a very beautiful and very lyrical way. Piranesi is a unique and great novel, and you are going to read it. I meant you're going to love it, but it came out as an imposition, and you should feel compelled to read it, or you'll be a disappointment. Read Piranesi.